Hey, it's DeLauer, and today I want to show you why feces, like my buddy here, could actually be the reason why you could be struggling to get a flat stomach and get in the best shape of your life. How can feces be holding you back from getting a six-pack and getting in shape? Well, it's because we actually carry a lot of undigested food around with us in our intestinal tracts to begin with. Much more than you would actually think. Believe it or not, the average man carries between 5 and 20 pounds of undigested food in his stomach. And if you're eating like a typical guy and you're frequently consuming processed foods, you're probably on the upper end of that range. Here are some of the symptoms of carrying around a bit too much feces in your intestinal tract. You're gonna feel low on energy and sluggish, craving sugars and junk food. Quite honestly, you're probably gonna have some frequent gas, some bloating, some diarrhea, and you could even have a very foul smell when you're actually passing gas. And having a stomach that bulges out over your belt, which doesn't seem in proportion to the fat on the rest of your body. So if you're experiencing one or more of these things, there's a highly likely chance that you could have a problem with excessive feces just sitting around inside your gut. Now, I want you to visualize this for a minute. Having 20 pounds of feces rotting inside you that festers for days or weeks before finally being passed. What do you think this might be doing to your health? Think about how impossible or difficult this can make it to get a flat stomach in the first place. When you're carrying around this much feces, it's almost like a woman being pregnant. Your stomach is always gonna stick out, and you're gonna have this problem until you ultimately solve it. But here's the good news. There are natural ways that you can reduce the amount of feces you're carrying around. Now, this doesn't include buying a bunch of stuff or taking any supplements. The way I do it is with a unique new style of intermittent fasting. I made a video showing you how it works, and when you're ready for my full solution, head on over to SixPackAbs.com. So why do most of us have too much feces in our intestinal tract and in our guts? Well, part of the reason is eating too much refined sugars and processed foods. But the biggest reason isn't actually what we're eating. It's that we're eating a little bit too frequently. Let me demonstrate what's happening to the typical dieter and why they generally don't lose too much weight. Let's say you're following typical diet advice and you're eating a healthy meal like this every 2 or 3 hours. Since your food takes 12 to 24 hours to generally digest, you can see that doing this is going to keep your digestive system almost completely full on a continual basis. This isn't good for your stomach because your digestive system never gets a chance to chill out and take a little break. Because of this, your food is not fully and completely digested. And if you end up carrying excessive feces in your gut, it ends up leading to an overgrowth of fungus and harmful bacteria inside your intestinal tract. It can also lead to the good bacteria that we need to digest our food ultimately dying off. Here's an analogy to help you understand. Could you continuously work for 24 hours a day at full speed, never taking a break? Of course you couldn't, and your digestive system can't either. But it can really benefit from having a break so it can focus on fully passing undigested food. And that's one of the reasons why intermittent fasting is so effective for getting in shape. To learn more about my full system for getting abs through strategic fasting, head on over to SixPackAbs.com. So I'll demonstrate real quick how fasting affects your digestive system before you head on over to my next video to get my full system. When you're following an intermittent fasting plan, it means that you're going to pick a certain period of time to be your eating window, where you only eat during that time. The rest of the day, you spend fasting. This is what I do personally, and generally what I'll do is I won't eat until about 6 p.m. on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. When I first started doing this, my biggest worry was that I would be hungry all the time and it's going to be extremely difficult. But I've found a few tricks that have made intermittent fasting that much easier when you're starting off. You'll also find your digestive system ends up adapting over time. And once you've been doing it for a while, you're not going to feel hungry during your fasting window anymore. It only takes about 2 weeks. Now here's why fasting is so effective for getting six-pack abs and getting in amazing shape, and why the scientific community is now raving about it. Not only is fasting incredibly effective for losing belly fat, it's also helping to reduce the amount of undigested feces that you carry in your intestinal tract. If you want to learn more about this, I have linked the studies that prove this in the description, the peer-reviewed studies that absolutely debunk the myths. This is because our digestive systems were not designed to work 24/7 like this. They benefit from a break every now and then. When your digestive system gets a break, it can focus on fully digesting and passing the feces that's stuck to the sides of your intestines that you have been carrying around for weeks. It's also going to help restore your gut bacteria to optimum balance, ultimately increasing the populations of good bacteria and thereby reducing populations of harmful bacteria and the overgrowth of something called candida, which is a yeast fungus. Now, here's another benefit of intermittent fasting. Candida yeast overgrowth has been scientifically proven to cause greater cravings for sugar. And again, I've linked the studies in the description which prove this. If you've tried to eat healthy before but struggled to stay away from sugary or high-carb snacks, this could very strongly be a reason why. But when you address this yeast issue with fasting, you're gonna find that it's a lot easier to resist these foods, which are gonna tremendously help you progress. So now you have a choice. You can skip the video and keep eating what you're eating, and if you're eating like an average person, you'll keep carrying around 5, 10, or unfortunately, possibly even 20 pounds of excessive feces that's just chilling in your gut. Or you can watch the free video that I posted on SixPackAbs.com. Because in that video, I won't only show you how to use intermittent fasting to improve your digestive health, I'll also give you the full intermittent fasting and exercise system that I personally use to transform from being overweight and honestly quite miserable to having six-pack abs and being in the shape and being the man that I wanted to be. Go to ScienceBasedSixPack.com to watch that video now. I will see you there.